Welcome to Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, we will keep on this one. I like it. We've got Nature's Lore, we've got Brainstorm, we've got a little Psychonic Rift action. We've got a dragon, quote-unquote dragon, but technically it's Spark Double, but we'll take it. And I guess we just actually lead off with... Actually, yeah, we can end up going Nature's Lore if we need to, so let's go and lead off with Flooded Strand. And then anything else, we will pass the turn over to our opponent. I was thinking about leaving up a fetch land for Brainstorm to kind of shuffle some stuff away. But next turn, what if we end up going for... Well, first of all, if we grab a dual source or we grab... Depending on what we grab, we've got a way to shuffle our library with Nature's Lore. And so let's go ahead and go for Brainstorm. There we go. Let's go and crack Flooded Strand. Let's get the stack pulled up. And I guess we could go for Triome if you wanted to, but if we want to I kind of want to Brainstorm, to be perfectly honest. We've got a lot of green and blue, so let's do that. So let's go and go for Tropical Island. Let's go for Brainstorm. We're going to look at the top three, see what we got. So it's going to be Triome, Birds of Paradise, Wooded Foothills. Let's see. And if you hear some meowing, that is my production assistant, Dorothy, telling me to pick her up, and then there we go. So let's go ahead and put, I guess at this point, I'm going to put Spark Double on top of our library. And then I really like hold on to these lands. So let's go and put Triumph on top of our library. And then that's good. I like that. It's going to be a lot of ramps. So that'll pass us back over to our turn. And we'll be able to go from there. So we got the Tropical Island down. We will be drawing into the Triumph on top of our library. And so we end up going... Can we do both of this? Can we get everything set up? I don't think we can. No, we can. So we end up going for Wooded Foothills. Yeah, we can do this. So we crack Wooded Foothills. Yeah, I like that. There we go. So let's go and grab ourselves a red-green source. Let's grab Taiga Uppercut. And let's go for Nature's Lore. And then that's going to allow us to get a... Yeah, there we go. And so let's go and grab ourselves Stomping Ground. I think that'll work. Yeah, I like Stomping Ground. We're going to pay 2 life. Let's drop in Birds of Paradise. Get that down for 1 green mana. And then anything else, pass it over to our opponent. There we go. Got this thing started. Turn 2, that's some good mana right there. And I like that. We're playing Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. Flying and ward for 2. Then whenever another dragon, non-token dragon, enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. Playing against Aesi, Tyrant of Gyre Strait. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. And if you've never sounded the Simic Alarms or played against Sound the Simic Alarms, Aesi is definitely a prime example of what it is like to sound the Simic Alarms. So let's go and lead off with Ancient Tomb. Let's go for Miirym. I think that sounds like a pretty good play, and I like that. So it's going to be tap down for 2. Actually set it up this way. Let's go 1, 2, tap down first, tap down for blue, get Miirym onto the battlefield. There we go. And then we did make the land drop. Yeah, we did. So anything else, pass it over to... Yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. So we got Miirym on the battlefield. That's going to be Atsushi on the battlefield. That's going to be an extra copy of it. And then we've got Boseiju. We've got enough lands now to where we can actually just drop in Triome and hold up Boseiju if we want to destroy an artifact or enchantment. I think we just may end up doing that because that keeps us open a little bit more. That does give them a basic and an extra land draw for Aesi, but at this point... if we can just get the Dragon Force going, I think that sounds like a pretty good plan. And if they do end up having some sort of like spot removal or something like that, at least with that Sushi, we've got some get some treasure tokens or get some card advantage, which is always a good thing. And our opponent did go for Augur of Autumn, which is look at the top of your library, and you may play lands from the top of your library. So see what we draw to for the turn. It's going to be Temur Ascendancy. And unfortunately, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. I guess we can go Boseiju. Yeah, we don't have 5 red. Well, actually, no, we can maybe set this up. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we can try to set this up. So if we end up going double red, because that will end up tapping down for force, but we're going to need that too. Yeah, we can make this work. So let's go ahead and drop in Boseiju, because it's going to come to play untapped. And then we can go for Temur Ascendancy. That's going to be green, tap down for blue, tap down for red. Yeah, that's perfect. Yes, that's going to be double card draw. That's going to be double hasty. I like that a lot. All right, it's going to be red, red. Tap down for 2 off of Ancient Tomb. And we get that down. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. So we're going to be able to get that down. We get an extra copy of it. It's going to have haste, which is a wonderful option. And that's going to be card draw, card draw. And so, yes, let's get that going. So let's get the Teamer trigger on the stack. Let's get the Miirym trigger on the stack. So it's going to be, oh yeah, look at that. That's good. Yes, we definitely want to use that ability. Draw into Mountain. Get an additional card draw, and that's going to be Counterspell. And it's going to push in. That's going to be 14 coming across. And so that's going to be a pretty good chunk of damage. So I actually do like that. So it's going to swing across. It's going to be 14, drop them down, and then anything else. Let's go ahead and pass the turn over to our opponent. There we go. Get him down to 26, and that'll be 6 total commander damage that we have dealt. So one of the things that we're looking for now, what are we looking for? We're looking for card advantage or a dragon. So that way we can get the extra copies of it. And at the very least, we might end up just going for Triome. I think that's kind of probably what we might end up doing, is cycling a Triome just to try to hit a dragon, because we've got, between Birds of Paradise and different things like that, we got some good stuff. So let's see. I think they did make the land drop for the turn, or maybe they did not. I know they got down Mana Crypt. All right, so they have not made the land drop. So that's going to be Aesi on the battlefield. And we'll see exactly what we end up going for. What we might end up doing is trying to set up the one-hit KO. I know it's 2 cards that we're getting rid of, but if we can Cyclonic Rift into Counterspell to stop Aesi, I think that might be a pretty good game plan for next turn. So do we have enough blue? That is, actually we don't. We don't have enough blue to go, because we've got 2 blue. We've got Birds of Paradise, but I'm afraid we may not have enough blue for that. So we'll see what we can assemble. But at the end of the day, may not be the end of the world if we just hold up Counterspell or hold up a Cyclonic Rift to kind of bounce everything back to the hand. So we'll see what's going on. We've still got a pretty good chunk of damage coming across, and if we just top deck into a dragon, which we do not, we've got some haste to go alongside with it. So yeah, let's give it a shot. So let's go Catacombs. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go Catacombs. Let's go and crack Catacombs and grab ourselves a another blue sword. Let's grab Breeding Pool. We're going to pay 2 on this one. Let's go and shock in. Let's go and cycle Triome. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. We're going to tap down with our just baseline colors, and that is going to be those. Let's see if we hit a dragon. That's what we're going for. Rhythm of the Wild, which is something we do like, and we can actually leave up Rift and Counterspell. So we'll just hold back on this one. So let's go and push in. And what we may end up doing for is kind of going for a tempo play next turn. I think I kind of like that. So let's go and swing in. That's going to be 10. That's going to be 14. It's going to drop them down. That'll be 12 total commander damage. And at the beginning of upkeep, if we end up going for Aesi, and I kind of like that. So let's do this at their upkeep. So let's go for Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, I like that. Cyclonic Rift on Aesi. That's going to be 1, 2. And actually, let's do it this way. That way, if they have some sort of spot removal, that's going to be blue and then Stomping Ground. There we go. And we're going to return Aesi back to their hand. And then if they have some sort of counter magic, we've still got Counterspell to stop that. So there we go. So we're going to stop that. Main thing that we're trying to do is we want them to spend 6 mana, try to get the commander back down. And then once they do spend that 6 mana, kind of followed it up with the Counterspell. And then once that does happen, then we're pretty much free to go to swing in next turn, because that'll be 10 and that'll be 14. So that should put us in a spot to where we can close the game out. And then even if we rip in another dragon or something, all right, opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. There we go. Yeah, because if they end up going for Aesi, we're able to get that down and get that going. So you can see what we're trying to do, get down Teamer Ascendancy, get some card advantage, and get some hasty dragons going. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks, bye. Welcome to Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. As far as our opening hand goes, we've got 2 lands and not a lot of ramp. So I think, and we are on the play too on this one, and we've got a lot of ways to... Do we keep on this one? If we just don't hit a land or card advantage or ramp, we are definitely stuck, but we've got a lot of good stuff. Yeah, let's go and mulligan. Yes, oh man, I love this so much better. Yes, I feel so much better. We had some good stuff, but some of the cards we had in that opening hand, I was like, man, this is stuff that we want to see, but kind of later in the game. So we're going to keep on this one. We need to put 1 card on the bottom. And I think what we'll do is we'll end up putting Dax Duplicate on the bottom. I think that's okay. Or do we want to put Panharmonicon on the bottom? Let's put Dax Duplicate on the bottom. So let's do that, because Panharmonicon is going to be hard for a Dimir deck to interact with. So I kind of like it. If we have to choose between the 2, let's go for that. So let's go and crack Catacombs, and let's go for the Triome. Let's get the Triome down. There we go. Anything else? We're going to pass the turn over to our opponent. There we go. So get the try done, and our opponent was hopped in the chat for a second, so I was talking to them super quick. So we're playing Miirym, Sentinel Wyrm. Flying and War for 2. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if the dragon is legendary. So there we go. So let's see what we draw to. Drawn to another forest. Let's go for forest. And then anything else, I think we pass the turn to our opponent. That sounds like a pretty good plan. There we go. We could go for Cathartic Pyre if we wanted to, but let's see what we rip into for next turn, because at the very least, we've got Chromatic Lantern into getting down. We get a land drop, Chromatic Lantern, and then if we can stick Panharmonicon, I'd like to get that moving, so that's what we're going to try to end up going for. So I think that's the name of the plan. So let's go for Forest. Let's drop in Chromatic Lantern. That's going to be 1, 2, and 3. That's going to turn our lands into Mario All-Star lands, which sounds like a pretty good plan. And that leaves us with 1. So anything else, we will pass the turn to our opponent. At the very least, we've got Panharmonicon into Conjurer's Closet set up, and then we just got to wait for some dragons and some mana, and so we've got our board state developed, so we'll take it. Playing against the Scarab God. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life, and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. Then for 4 mana activation, exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. Then whenever the Scarab God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step, and that's going to be Priest, which we'll cover in just a second. So let's go and lead off with Forest. That way we're not taking any... Actually, we have nothing we need to do for 5. We could go for Conjurer's Closet, but let's go for... Let's set up Panharmonicon. Yeah, I like that. That sounds like a good plan. So we'll drop in Panharmonicon, drop in Stomping Ground. That way we're not taking any damage. We can drop in... We could drop in Miirym. We could just leave Miirym, but that's going to leave us open to some spot removal on our opponent. So I'd like to be able to set something up to where we at least have some sort of follow-up play with Miirym. But at the very least, we'll kind of get that set up, and then anything else, pass the turn over to our opponent. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will apply my affiliate link. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. So if you do use that link, much obliged. I certainly appreciate it. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play Commander online, they've got you covered. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you're keeping score at home in the Dragon Library, it is officially free time, so let's have some fun. So we've got the land drop for the turn, and that's going to be Bloodstained Mire. And then we've got Conjurer's Closet for 1, 2, and then 3. I think that sounds good. So we drop in Conjurer's Closet, and then anything else, we will pass the turn over to our opponent. Because we made the land drop, we can crack Bloodstained Mire and go from there. Yeah, there we go. So right now we're just looking for some dragons. That's kind of that's the name of the game that we're looking for right now. So, but yes, it is free time, and we'll talk about what dragons we've got. So as far as what our opponent's playing, Priest of the Haunted Edge, sack it, target creature gets -X/-X, where X the number of snow lands, and they've got almost enough to take care of it. So we got to watch out for that. There's Clever Scab out there. And then Cemetery Reaper. All right, so what we may... Well, actually, no, excuse me. That's a 1/5. So I was thinking Cathartic could do something with that, but we cannot. Oh, I wanted to crack that Bloodstained Mire, but unfortunately we can't. All right, so we run into Parallel Lives. We've got some setting up to do, so let's do that. So let's drop in Parallel Lives. I mean, we're not in danger of, like, losing the game right now. I mean, they do have some pretty good zombies out there, 3/5s, but we're not looking at a huge, huge chunk of mana. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's keep making the land drops. And we'll go ahead and crack Bloodstained Mire, because that is simply a 3/5. That is a 2/2. So we can at least do Cathartic on one of those creatures. So let's go and amp up the blue and red sources, just in case something does happen to Chromatic Lantern. You never know what's going to happen. We'll grab Steam Vents, have that come into play tapped, and then pass it over to our opponent. But yeah, with Cathartic, we could try to get up to net 2 cards and cycle 2 cards if we wanted to, but we might end up just taking Cemetery Reaper. Take that out, because that's going to make it a 1/5. The only downside is we need to deal with Priest. Before we get Miirym down, we need to deal with Priest, because we were all set up to really take advantage. Ooh, and that's going to be... Yeah, that'll be some good stuff. Let's see, that's going to be double Priest out there. I was just about to say, we need to deal with Priest as they get 2 of them out there, so... and then, actually, if we run into Storm's Wrath, that'll clear them out. But that 1/5 out there, yeah, that's going to be pretty rough. So And that's going to be a 2/5 now. So yeah, let's go ahead and go Cathartic on Cemetery Reaper. Let's see if they decide to swing in with Cemetery Reaper, and then that way we'll still end up going for Cathartic. I think that'll work out. So that's going to be, yeah, let's go Cathartic. And that's going to be 3 damage to Cemetery Reaper. Make sure that they can't come back. Nope, it cannot. So we'll tap down for 1 more. Because I just want to get rid of that tribal bonus effect. Just making it a 1/4 is a little bit easier for us. So that's going to make it a 1/4. Especially if we just top deck Storm's Wrath. That's something that that'll work out for us. All right, so they do not run into a... they don't have a way to make the little zombies. All right, so we run into Nature's Lore. And I guess that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we go 8. That'll be black. I mean, double green. I mean, if they want to deal with... They've only got... Yeah, and actually, excuse me. We can actually get that now. So let's go Tropical Island. Let's go Miirym. And if they want to start sacrificing Priest out there, if we're going to be making our land drops, we can get this set up. So there we go. So let's tap down 1, 2. Get down Miirym onto the battlefield. And we'll see if they end up going for the activation. They can go for the double activation if they want to, but we're actually kind of okay on Snowlands because we're sitting at a 5/5. So if they want to burn both of them, they certainly can. Yes, we will use Conjurer's Closet. Why not? Let's give Miirym a little fun dragon ride, and it's back on the battlefield. There we go. So anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. So now, what are we doing? We're in top deck mode. We need ourselves a dragon. That's kind of what we're going for. Now, as far as the dragons in the deck, we're not running Dragon Tribal .deck right now. Ooh, that's Rooftop Storm. So that is... and they did hit the snow-covered lands. If they want to go for Priest, they can certainly go for that activation. So we'll see what they end up going for. They've got double Priest, and so we'll see what's going to happen. And with Rooftop Storm, if they had a zombie, they would have gone for it. So we've got dragons versus zombies. But yeah, with Miirym, we're running about 9 dragons in here because I wanted to kind of build a little more of a teamer ramp kind of control style deck. And so, and then plus the other downside is that some of the, they're not going to be able to pay the ward for 2 off of Miirym. So unfortunately, they're not going to have the mana for that activation, which is a little bit of a bummer. I forgot about the ward for 2. I forgot that being an activated ability. That is so nice, having that on a 6 mana commander. I am so glad about that, because to be honest, I kind of forgot about that. And so I was just wanting to roll out there, hoping that they just crack it and crack it. And now it looks like we're going to be able to get some protection, so I will take that. That happens in Magic sometimes when you forget about ward. I forget about ward. I forget what ward is sometimes, so... And they're not going to be able to have the activated ability for Miirym. So at the very least, they've got Scarab God to exile some stuff. All right, Migration Path. Let's get the cycling going. We're going to cycle for 2, because right now we need a dragon. Let's see. So that's Migration Path. We're going to cycle for 2, and then we can return a creature to its owner's hand. And I kind of like that. So what we're going to end up doing is returning Priest back to the hand. I think that sounds like a pretty good plan, because that's going to be yeah, let's do that. So let's go ahead and send the Priest, because that Priest is if you don't know, that Priest is a token. And so that's going to stop the activated ability, and there we go. Now we're sitting in a good spot. So let's go and push in for 6. We've got a 6/6 coming across. It's going to drop them down to 34, and that'll be 6 total commander damage. And we'll kick it back over to our opponent. So I do apologize. We've got everything on the table ready to eat some dragons, but unfortunately we don't have the dragons. So hopefully we can get the dragons. If we get the dragons going, it feels like having Panharmonicon, Conjurer's Closet, Parallel Lives. It feels like having all the appetizers at the table, but you haven't gotten your main course yet. So that's what I said, when we haven't eaten yet. So hopefully we get to eat here in a little bit. But yeah, as far as the dragons for the deck, and destroy all non-dragon creatures, let's take a quick look at that. And they can return Priest if they want to back to the battlefield, get past that war too. So they will bring that back. It's not going to have haste just yet, but that's something to keep in mind. We've got Ancient Copper Dragon in here. We've got a Tarka World Render in here. Atsushi, Imrith. We've got Lathless as a way to get some extra copies of dragons, which is always nice. And now our opponent's hip to the ward ability. So now we're really going to keep our fingers crossed that we run into some dragons, because I want to make some copies of some dragons. They don't have the mana for Liliana's Devotee. And let's see. All right, Hour of Devastation, which is exactly what we needed. I will take that. So let's go and push in with Miirym. Yes, I will take that. We don't have the dragon, but that is going to clean the entire board out. So let's swing in at Liliana. And actually, I forgot, Hour of Devastation does 5 damage to each creature in each non-bolus planeswalker, so we could have set it up to where we just swung it in our opponent, and that would have been 12 total commander damage. So that is a misplay on my part. I was just, in my head, I was associating the Hour of Devastation with just 4 damage, but I forgot about the Planeswalker Claw. So there we go. So we're going to go Hour of Devastation. That's going to clean the entire board out, leave our dragon on the battlefield, and then we're going to go and exile Miirym. Yes, we'll definitely use that ability. There we go. That's a Miirym on the battlefield, and then anything else, pass it to our opponent. So they do have the Scarab God, so they're still, they still got some stuff. They can Scarab God and still exile and get one of these creatures on the battlefield. So that is something that we definitely want to keep in mind. So this game is not anywhere close to being over yet. But it looks like they opt to not go for the Scarab God. All right, so we run into Thirst for Discovery. So just in case we can somehow get some hasty options, let's get this moving. Let's go Thirst of Discovery, draw 3 cards. Maybe we hit a basic. If not, we're going to be Nature's Claim. Ooh, there we go. All right. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go for this. We have to discard Nature's Claim and discard Sylvan Library. But we do at least have Ancient Copper Dragon. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be 5. Okay, so we can get some stuff moving. Let's go and swing in with Miirym Sentinel Dragon. And I'm going to feel a lot better once we end up getting this down. Because even if they go for Scarab God, we're going to, we'll have a pretty good spot on this. So we're going to swing in for 6. That drops them down to 28. And then anything else, pass it to our opponent. Exile Miirym, return it to the battlefield. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, we should be at 18 commander damage. So we should have been forcing commander damage next turn, but that's how Magic goes. No matter how good you are at Magic, sometimes you forget about one little clause on a card because there's so many cards out there. But it's all about, Magic. It's about bouncing back from your mistakes, so that's what we're going to try to do. So we finally run into Ancient Copper Dragon. We are running a little bit lighter on dragons in this deck just because a lot of the dragons that came out in this new set, they're not on Magic Online, which is kind of a bummer. And so, but with stuff like Ancient Copper Dragon, it's nice. It's nice to have that down with Ancient Copper Dragon. I'm glad that got released. But yeah, a lot of the good 5 and 4 drops, they hadn't released them yet. Maybe they're on the way. Who knows? But unfortunately, they're not out there just yet. And with Scarab God on the battlefield, I think they don't have an activation we actually have to worry about. So we're actually in a pretty good spot. So let's go ahead and drop in Misty. And just in case there's some funny business, Lebowski, let's go ahead and drop in Ancient Copper Dragon. Because they've got 1 card in the hand. Yeah, let's just go and force the issue right now, because just in case there's some sort of return target creature that's attacking, blah, blah, blah. And let's drop in there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that. All right, it's going to be, oh, look at those. Yes, yes, yes. Look at those Copper Dragons. Yes, all right. Unfortunately, we don't have haste, but I will take this. Let's go and swing in with Miirym. That's going to put them at 18 total commander damage. That'll drop them down to 22. And then next turn, we're going to be able to bounce Ancient Copper Dragon. Oh, yes, this is what we're here for. This is Magic. So anything else, we're going to go ahead and exile, not the token, but the OG copy of Ancient Copper Dragon and get some more. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is good. All right, so this is going to be the Panharmonicon trigger. And we've got our army of Ancient Copper Dragons. I'll take it. There we go. Look at that's beautiful. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so it's going to be 9 total Copper Dragons. And I like it. I like it. That's some good stuff right there. So let's see what they've got. If they've got like Rift or they've got a board wipe, they can say, all right, there we go. Opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. We got some good Miirym action. Unfortunately, we were in top deck mode for a good chunk of that video. But yeah, running into Ancient Copper Dragon, that's some good stuff right there. So this is what we're trying to do, get down early, really kind of heavy hitter style support effects, Panharmonicon, Conjurer's Closet. And then once we do draw into one of our top deck effects, or not top deck effects, draw into one of our very strong dragons, just kind of go to town from there. So, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.